In this video, you are going to learn how to create a podcast inside of WeVideo. First thing you're going to need to do is go to WeVideo.com, and in the upper right hand corner, you are going to click Login, making sure you hit Login with Google and selecting your eastpennsd.org address. Once you do that, you'll be logged into WeVideo. And what we were able to do on the left-hand side under Create New is we are going to simply create our podcast. By doing that, it's telling me where do I want to have this saved. I can select a different project, or obviously we're going to create a new one if you don't have one. So for this, I'm just going to hit sample project because I have one already. I'm going to hit next. First thing it shows me, since podcast is audio based, it's going to ask me to get close to my mic and click record. I've been on this website before, but you may get a pop-up that says, do you want to allow the microphone and the use of the camera? And obviously you want to make sure you allow, not block. And that you're able to record yourself. So I'm going to simply hit record. It's going to count down from 3, 2, 1. This is a test for a podcast recording. I hit stop. I'm able to preview it if I want to. This is a test for a podcast recording. Okay, so now I'm happy with that. If I wanted to, I'm able to record again. I'm going to hit save. And when it saves my recording, you will notice that it will place it in my WeVideo timeline. Okay, and here it is right there. So first thing I want to point out is it took me to my timeline view. If for some reason it takes you to this view, which is called the storyboard view. So when I go to these 3 horizontal lines to open my menu, it says switch to storyboard. For some reason, you may have been defaulted to this view. We want to make sure if you have, we want to go back and you want to be on this timeline view. Okay, so what I'm able to do now is I can see I have video 1, audio 1, and voiceover 1. Voiceover 1 is what we just recorded. This is a test for a podcast recording. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I can obviously shorten, trim, do things like that if I need to, but it is on voiceover 1. Now, let's say that was a snippet of my podcast. What I want to do is record again. I can simply go up to My Media. I can hit Narrate. And I have those same options. So it's going to start recording in 3, 2, 1. This is part 2. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with that. What you'll notice now is everything before was on voiceover 1. Now I have something in voiceover 2. What I'm able to do is if I left it like this, they're going to play at the exact same time. I don't want that because it would be difficult to hear. So what I can do is move it over, and I'm able to move it up and kind of over. Give myself some space. And there we go. So now when I play it, this is a test for a podcast recording. This is part 2. Okay, and obviously you can see some of the wavelengths where I could cut some of that out, so there's no empty space. But again, if I want to leave them on separate tracks like this, voiceover 1 and 2, I can overlay things. That is just fine. So you would use the narrate as much as you need to. Some people do it in one take, some do it in clips, which is completely fine. The other thing you want to add to a podcast is some background noise, some background music, sound effects, things like that. So for audio, we can simply go up here, select audio, and these are some different tracks that are built into the system. You can choose sound effects, things like that, or obviously you are able to go out and get your own. So I'm going to select this first one here. And let's say I'm happy with that one. I can just simply drag it down. And now I have it here. What I want to point out is if you notice up here, it's 4 minutes and 46 seconds long. So as I keep going, you can see it is way longer than what I just recorded. Okay, so what I can do on this bottom right-hand corner is I can kind of zoom out. And you can see how long it is, or I can zoom in to make it a little bit easier to navigate and to trim. So right here, you can see on the left-hand side, these are my 2 clips of recording. Here's the song. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it. Otherwise, you'll have a 4 minute and 46 second podcast with 10 minutes of talking. So now I can zoom back in. And now when I play from the beginning, This is a test for a podcast recording. This is part 2. Okay, so that sounds pretty good. However, the audio or the background music is a little bit long and loud. So I'm going to bump it down to about 40% and see how that sounds. That will probably be much better. This is a test for a podcast recording. This is part 2. Okay, that's pretty good. I actually might even go a little bit lower, but you get the idea. You don't want to drown out your voice with background music, so you can adjust that as you go. And again, you can take a clip of this song, a clip of this song, add a sound effect, however you want to do it, to kind of make it your own. So that's all you need to do for your podcast. And in the next video, I will show you how to save it in WeVideo, how to get it onto your Google site.